Last night, 80,000 pages of the John F. Kennedy files have finally been released to the US people. So what's new information and what's old information? And does any of it actually matter to you? There's a report known as the Warrens Commission 1964 report that concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in assassinating President Kennedy. This has been the official narrative for decades, unless you're one of those conspiracy theory guys who have other conclusions. The newly released files, however, provide additional context, but do not significantly alter the established narrative. They include details about Oswald's interactions with Soviet officials and surveillance by the KGB, shedding light on the Cold War era intelligence activity. While these documents offer deeper insights into the geopolitical climate of the 1960s and Oswald's movements, they don't really substantiate the numerous amount of conspiracy theories that have been persisting over the years. There are tons and tons of conspiracy theories when it comes to the assassination of JFK, but there are three main ones that have persisted the most. The first one is the second shooter theory, also known as the grassy knoll theory. This one is definitely the most widely believed theory, where many eyewitnesses reported hearing shots from the grassy knoll over in a plaza, kind of suggesting that Oswald wasn't the only shooter. The second theory was that the CIA was involved. This theory claims that the CIA orchestrated or covered up the assassination because Kennedy was threatening to dismantle the agency after this whole thing called the Bay of Pigs invasion failed in 1961. The declassified documents showed that the CIA did monitor Oswald before the assassination, but they did not act. The third biggest theory was the fact that the mafia ordered the hit. The theory is that the mafia had multiple reasons to want JFK dead, particularly because his brother, Robert F. Kennedy, the attorney general at the time, was aggressively cracking down on organized crime. This theory suggests that the mafia may have supplied the gunman or manipulated Oswald as a patsy. And finally, as an honorable mention, there's the Lyndon B. Johnson theory, where some people believe JFK's own vice president, Lyndon B. Johnson, was involved in a coup-style plot. After the release of these 80,000 documents, none of those theories have been corroborated. In fact, it's only starting to create more questions and even more theories. So what exactly does this mean for you? Absolutely freaking nothing. It's good that the government is being more transparent, but some people are kind of concerned that a lot of this information has been redacted and or manipulated, and all of the things that would kind of like prove the theories just don't exist. Given the failed botch when it comes to receiving information about the Epstein files and everything being redacted and everything that's happening with P. Diddy, it definitely feels like information is being manipulated and or not given to the American people. So it's hard to know if what we're seeing is true or not. And I don't think a lot of people have any faith in the information that we're receiving, especially when it doesn't confirm our own biases. Did you guys see Kanye's latest crash out? Okay, he may have went too far this time. I'm sure most of you guys know this at home, but Kanye's been on a very huge crash out recently, the biggest of which is him being very pro-Nazi and pro-Hitler on the Twitter platform. Last night around 7:15, Kanye West tweeted these two tweets that have now since been deleted. The first one saying, wait, has anyone ever seen Jay-Z and Beyonce's younger kids? They're the R word. No, like literally, and this is why artificial insemination is such a blessing. Having our children is a choice. This is still a bit tame when it comes to a lot of his pro-Hitler Nazi type tweets, but when you start attacking people's children, it actually draws the lines for even the Nazis themselves. He deleted the tweet and said, I need everyone to know that I took the post about Jay-Z and Beyonce's family down and Jerry Lorenzo's family down because there was a possibility of my Twitter being canceled, not because I'm a good person. I took it down like Down syndrome. Get it? Am I right? Am I right? Question mark. F the world, real talk, F everybody. However, for the first time in quite some time after watching some of these rants, there were a lot of public figures and celebrities who finally called out Kanye West. Playboy Cardi right here, who recently dropped an album that everyone is saying is garbage, said, yay, STFU, amassing over 10 million views overnight. In Kanye fashion, after he gets the attention that he wants from the internet, he decided to monetize it by leaking his album known as Bully. And so far, the public sentiment seems to be that a lot of people actually like it. This one here saying, heartbreaking, the worst person you know just made a great album. This then leads to the old age question, is separating the artist from the music. Should you not? When the worst person you know is making some of the best music you've ever heard, that conflicting feeling, you guys let me know how you feel about that. Speaking of legacies, guys, Elon Musk's empire is literally going up in flames. Tesla dealerships are being torched, his stock is in free fall, and the backlash is hitting harder than ever.
Yeah, it turns out when you take away people's, what the money they're receiving fraudulently, they get very upset, and they basically want to kill me because I'm stopping their fraud, and they want to hurt Tesla because we're stopping this terrible waste and corruption in the government. And well, I guess they're bad people. Bad people will do bad things.
Yes, very, very articulate, Elon Musk.
I have to ask, why? Why do I see people like I woke up this morning and saw that Teslas were put ablaze in one of your dealerships in Vegas? I've seen this happen all over the country. Bullets are being fired. Charging stations are put ablaze. Teslas are being put ablaze. You have experienced assassination, threats of assassination for you and your family. What have you done that warrants this? Because I see nothing that you have done except help our country.
Yeah, I mean, it's really come as quite a shock to me that there's this level of really hatred and violence from the left. I always thought the left, or Democrats, were supposed to be the party of empathy, the party of caring, and yet they're burning down cars, they're firebombing dealerships, they're firing bullets into dealerships, they're just smashing up Teslas. Tesla is a peaceful company. We've never done anything harmful. I've never done anything harmful. I've only done productive things. So I think we just have a deranged. There's some kind of mental illness thing going on here, because this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So do I say it? Do I say it? There's a lot to unpack here, okay? But one of the very common tactics that a lot of leaders do to basically subdue their opponents is to call them names. So saying that they have mental illness, is this is the reason why. So it's simply saying things like there's no reason why that anybody would do this. Clearly, either is him lying, which he's usually known for doing. I don't know if you guys know this, but when it comes to Twitter, his own AI, Grok, right? You can ask it a question independently. Who is the person that spreads the most amount of disinformation on this platform? And it literally says Elon Musk. Brute Grok, okay? Basically saying that he is one of the leading people of spreading misinformation. But as most of you guys know, Elon Musk is, but is not in charge of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. He's also responsible for the firings of tens of thousands of people, almost getting close to 100,000 people, which has led to the dismantling of many government agencies now, in the past, and also going into the future. He said he's looking for fraud and he's just getting rid of waste. And so when hundreds of thousands of people are hearing that they are being called waste, that is probably going to ignite some type of backlash. The way I see it, okay, this is just human nature. If you take the food away from enough people's plates, okay, and leave them with nothing, they will retaliate. That's not even to suggest that the people who got their food taken away are the ones that are retaliating. But also it's very clear that he's painting the agenda that this is still a left versus right thing, okay? In order to get more and more support from the right, we have to say that the people who did this was on the left, so the people on the right can feel more invigorated and more energized. In my opinion, I think it's completely disingenuous for Elon Musk to pretend that he doesn't know why people are doing what they're doing. And to only skew your behavior as only good and not having any kind of criticism, in my opinion, that's the part that becomes ingenuous. This is not me, by the way, supporting the burning of the Tesla dealerships, okay, or supporting the arson or supporting the violence, okay? I don't like to support violence of any kind, so this is not me co-signing it. This is me simply saying I can see why humans would react in this way, because again, when you take something from them and you put them and box them in the corner, then a lot of people are going to do their best to retaliate what appears to be you being the person taking the food from them. Anyway, my comment aside, okay, you guys probably know this, but Trump has deemed any kind of attacks on Tesla as domestic terrorism, okay? So if they find out the people who are doing this, they're going to get charged to the umpteenth degree, okay? They're going to get them out of there, or they're going to do something really bad to these people. They might even send them to Guantanamo Bay. I forgot to bring this up, but he had tweeted and said, "My companies make great products that people love, and I've never physically hurt anyone. So why the hate and violence against me? Question mark. Because I am a deadly threat to the woke mind parasite and the humans it controls." That's the answer. Okay? He's never done anything to physically hurt anyone, is what he's saying, and that it is the threat of the woke mind parasite. That is what is currently targeting him at the moment. Again, I don't think it's that deep. I think it's just the narrative that's being spun to continue to kind of like enforce what it is he's already doing and get more allies on his side. But quite literally, I think it's just objective. I think there are both Republicans and Democrats who are a part of this situation who are feeling like they're getting their food removed from them, their resources taken away from them, and they're retaliating. I don't even think this is a left versus right thing, but they will always try to figure out a way to make it about left versus right, because that it benefits politicians and people of power to have infighting. That's kind of how I look at it. How do you guys look at it? Also, in very recent news yesterday, famous actress Gal Gadot is receiving an enormous amount of hate. What is going on and why does everyone hate her? As you guys can see here, you have Gal Gadot receiving her Hollywood star. I think that's Vin Diesel behind her, and then I think I recognize the girl on the right, not so much the people on the left, but yeah, it's supposed to be a nice, beautiful moment of kind of like acknowledge her history of being a Hollywood actress. However, you have protesters pro-Palestinian on the other side chanting things like this. So yeah, and is that Toph? That is Toph saying "Viva, Viva Palestina." The TLDR is that Gal Gadot is an Israeli actress. I think you guys can see where we're going with this. She's renowned for her role as Wonder Woman and has faced significant backlash due to her outspoken support for Israel amid the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Additionally, tensions have arisen between Gal Gadot and her Snow White co-star Rachel Ziegler, who has expressed pro-Palestinian sentiments, further fueling the public debate and criticism. Right? You have Gal Gadot playing as the evil wicked witch and Snow White, who is, the part of like pro-Israel. And then you have Rachel Ziegler, who's playing as Snow White, who is quite literally playing as pro-Palestinian, right? So you... Yeah, and apparently they don't like each other. Gal Gadot is also one of those actresses that a lot of people dislike because they actually don't think that she's a very good actress. There's like montages of her in terms of her delivery when it comes to things that she's done in Wonder Woman and other movies where people are like, this is absolutely horrible. A lot of people believing that she's just a bad actress. And last but not least, guys, I kid you not, this one's going to kind of blow your mind if you never heard about it, but a United Nations judge has just been convicted for having a modern day slave in the year of 2025. Lydia Mugambe, a distinguished judge from Uganda and a member of the United Nations judicial roster, was recently found guilty by an Oxford Crown Court. Her conviction includes charges of facilitating travel with the intent to exploit, forcing someone to work without pay, and conspiring to intimidate a witness. The court uncovered that Lydia deceived a young Uganda woman into traveling to the UK under the pretense of legitimate employment. However, upon arrival, the victim's passport and visa were confiscated and she was compelled to serve as an unpaid maid and nanny. Isolated and restricted, the victim's ordeal continued until she courageously sought help, which then led to police intervention. Throughout the trial, Lydia denied all allegations, asserting she had treated the victim with care. However, evidence presented painted a starkly different picture of exploitation and abuse of power. The jury found Lydia guilty on all accounts, leading to audible gasp in the courtroom as the verdict was read. Lydia is now scheduled for a sentencing on May 2nd. That's 2 months from now. Apparently also Lydia was studying for her PhD, but she wasn't smart enough to recognize that she can't get away with bringing in a modern day slave from Uganda. Absolutely wild how people's intellect doesn't always match their intellect. And that's all I have for today's video. If you made it to the end, leave a like, subscribe if you guys haven't already. I'll have more information, news for you guys talking tomorrow or the day after. And yeah, brush your teeth, floss, don't get halitosis. I'll catch you later. Peace.